Hello and welcome to today's video. Um, as you might be able to tell from the title, today I want to talk about the myth or the theory that white people are closer to God. Now, this can't go with another disclaimer. This is a topic that, if you are very religious and you're very into Christianity, you might be feeling offended. Um, However, it is what it is. As usual, I mean, my own opinions are mixed up with facts still. These are facts, these are historical facts. I'm not making this up. Um, but this topic can't really go without mentioning religion. I don't like to talk about religion because it's a very controversial thing to talk about. It's very emotional for many people. Um, I'm not, this video is not intended to step on anybody's toes, um, but it is what it is. And yeah, so let's just go right into it. So when we look in churches or religious buildings or religious pictures that have to do with Christianity, especially in the Catholic Church, you will see a lot of white people in those pictures, in those figures. Um, Whenever we look at Jesus or what the church tells us this is Jesus, we are seeing a white man, right? With some kind of dark blonde hair, blue eyes, straight hair, a little bit wavy. You know, he looks like a white man with long hair and a beard. So, what's the whole topic of white people being closer to God really all about? Of course, I would call it like a hidden truth. It's not something that, or a hidden truth, right? Truth. It's not something that white people are just all up in people's faces and are like, we are closer to God because Jesus looks like this. It's more some unconscious fact or some unconscious legend or myth that has been made or has been brainwashing people for centuries now. This is not a thing of a few years. This is a matter of hundreds of years. Now, why? I mean, let's look at science for a second, right? When we know the history of humanity, we know there's the out of Africa, how the white man likes to call it theory, but it's a fact. It's not. I think whenever white people talk about historical happenings as theories, they are trying to water down the meaning and the depth of those facts. Because we don't need to argue about the fact that humanity came from Africa. So why is it a theory? In my own in my own understanding, I might be wrong because, like I said before, English isn't my first language. A theory, it's something that you are assuming. There might be some type of truth to it, but it's not a proven fact. Like I said, I might be wrong in that, but when I translate the English word into the German word, then theory is more of something that's not factually proven. However, I like to call it a fact because it's a fact. So when we are looking at the out of Africa statement, let's call it a statement, then we know humanity started in today's Ethiopia. The oldest ever human-like bones were found in today's Ethiopia, and the white man named them Lucy. She was dated back to around 3 to 3.2 million years ago. Now, it wasn't a human being the way we know it today, but it was a human being in its older version, older form. Okay, you get what I'm saying. So, when we are looking at where humanity came from, there is this beautiful saying that says, the deeper you dig, the blacker humanity gets. And there are several other researchers that have proven that humanity was black everywhere globally first. Like when they were looking at the first ever found Great Britain, it was a man with darker complexion and blue eyes, which, first of all, it proves the fact that black people don't need to be mixed or don't need to have any white influence to have blue eyes. That's another myth altogether. Black people, the black woman carries the Eve gene. The Eve gene means the black woman can give birth to any ethnicity on the planet. She doesn't need a white man to give birth to a white child. But white counterparts cannot just give birth to a black child without ever having black in their lineage. So when we are looking at humanity, we already know humanity was black before it was anything else. Furthermore, white people have only existed for around 8,000 years for around 8,000 years now. Like we came to exist around 8,000 years ago. Okay, some people be like 6,000, some others say 8,000. But the bitter fact is that even there was I think it was a Senegalese man. I forgot, or from Gambia. I'm not really sure. And they were able to date his DNA back 668,000 years ago. Google is free. I'm just saying, yeah. So it's not a matter of truth or a matter of argumentation or a matter of could, would, probably. The fact is, humanity was black, and from there on, every other ethnicity developed. Now, the plain fact is, white people were the last ethnicity to develop. And also, yes, white people do have 2% Neanderthal DNA. I'm not sure if it applies to every white person. I've never had a DNA test done. I've never had anybody look for the DNA, the Neanderthal in me. But I don't know why white people get so freakingly offended. Y'all are the first that claim humanity came from monkeys. So why is it now a problem if black people tell you, oh, why you have 2% Neanderthal DNA? Oh, yeah, it's because black people said it, right? Okay, that one apart. Even the Neanderthal came from Africa around 600,000 or 300,000 years ago, anywhere between 3 and 600,000 years ago. They migrated from Africa to Eurasia, Europe and Asia, whatever. So any human-like life that has ever been on this planet has its origin in Africa. Now, mind you, no, that doesn't mean that every white person is from Africa. Please, because I had a conversation with a white guy some months back, and he was like, "Oh, we are all one. We all came from Africa," and he was like, if nobody can say the N word, then black people should also not say the N word." This is the same person that is telling me that everybody came from Africa. Now, it doesn't work like this. Yes, humanity came from Africa. No, that doesn't make you African. Sorry. Now, okay, we know the fact is humanity came from Africa. Now, back to the topic. How come Jesus is a white man? How come God or anything godly is being seen as white? Where did that come from? Now, I've read about this topic a lot for years now, and I know that there are different opinions, different people that share different viewpoints on this. My personal opinion is that when white people came to Africa, they didn't meet uncivilized animal like human beings. They met civilized kings and queens. They met people that built empires as we literally didn't even exist. Also, modern day Egyptian history dates back to 5,000 years ago. And mind you, this is only the ones that are recorded. There is a lot of African history that was destroyed by the white man to prevent this knowledge from being taken to the next generation. Because, like I said before, knowing your true power is knowing your true self is knowing your true powers. So when the white man destroyed African history to make it unaccessible for Africans, they literally made sure that black people will never know where they really came from. Fortunately, they weren't able to destroy it all. But one thing they wanted Africa's resources. You can't just walk into a continent and be like, "Hi, I want your whatever you have." It doesn't work like this. You have to make them believe that you are worthy of those resources, not necessarily worthy that you are entitled to those resources. Now, how do you do that? When you form a religion or when you bring up a religion and make the Son of God or God Himself look like you, that means you are closer to God than the person you are trying to steal from. So there is this saying that said, when the white people came, we had the land and they had the Bible. They told us to close our eyes and pray, and when we opened our eyes, they had the land and we had the Bible. As in we that I was like saying what the saying says. Okay, I wasn't saying like okay, whatever. So the thing is that when you want to let somebody know that they are lesser of you or they are lesser than you need to show yourself as something that's special and superior. Now, throughout human history, white people haven't achieved anything. Like there is nothing that you can be like. I mean, of course, we have inventions, we have musicians, we have scientists. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about um, a social achievement. Like, for example, let's compare it to the Mali Empire. The Mali Empire was an achievement by Black people collectively of different tribes that were all living in harmony. White people never did that, not even in Europe. We never had harmony, even in Europe. In opposite of that, we continuously adapted the term whiteness to fit our narrative to uphold the standard of white supremacy, to uphold the standard of racism, to uphold our privileges. That's why years back, the Irish weren't classified white. Eastern Europeans weren't classified white. Up to today, Southern Italians or Spanish people are not necessarily considered white when they are in white countries like Germany, for example, or when they go to places like Eastern Europe or even the northern part of Europe, when you can clearly see that they are of darker complexion, they are still white, but they will still be discriminated upon because of the color of their skin, even though technically they are seen as white people. So even white people don't like to claim every white person. So when we are looking at the whole system of white supremacy and the whole narrative of whiteness, it has always continuously been adapted to fit that narrative. Now, you can never rule over people that have more than you, that know more than you, and that achieve more than you if you don't make yourself look better than them. And that's exactly what happened. Because when Black people came to Europe and ruled in Spain for 700 years, they did indeed meet white people that didn't even know how to wash their butt crack. Yeah. So there's history, there are pictures where white royals show white people, black royals show white people how to wash themselves. Um, that's not something that's hidden. That's very much accessible for everybody that cares to know. So the civilization we know today came from the Moors that actually ruled in Spain for 700 plus years. I'm not really sure the correct number, but those people, those the traces of that history is not even being taught in Spain, but it's very much part of their history. So throughout Europe, you will see Black people being erased from European history, just like Mozart was a Black man. That's knowledge that's not in our history books. Absolutely not. So now, mind you, if they can, as something tiny as a musician that was only a musician, they can paint him white to disguise his blackness in order to make him look like he achieved something as a white man. And on the other end of the world, black slaves were achieving and inventing things with the name of their slave master because they were officially property of the white man. So when these inventions were published, it was not the black person's original name. It was the slave master's name that was written on the invention. Now it's whitewashing of history. That's also part of whitewashing of history because those things happened under the disguise of whiteness, but truly black people were behind it. And there are thousands and tens of thousands of achievements and inventions like that that were originally invented by black people but were whitewashed, stolen, hijacked, or simply taken over by white people. So when I say that we didn't achieve anything, I mean, like, when you look at Europe, we weren't even civilized in Europe until black people came, right? So even in Europe, we had wars with other European countries because we were trying to expand our empire. And I just want to drop one single name to prove how we are not civilized, and that's Hitler. And that's not something that happened 300 years ago. That's something that happened historically seen literally yesterday. So Hitler wasn't a German, yet he brainwashed Germans into believing into a superior white race to an extent that people that are technically white, when you look at their complexion, were killed in millions just because one man said so. Now tell me exactly, why wouldn't they brainwash millions of Africans to believe, or to make them believe, that Jesus, which was definitely a black man, hair like wool, skin like bronze, is never a white man? It's in the revolutions, the part of the Bible where it's written, where Jesus' complexion is being stated, is the revolution, but I've forgotten the exact place. You can look it up. Jesus was a black man. Nothing to argue about that. Now, who is the image we are seeing today? Google Cesare Borgia. he is the inspiration of the Jesus image today. I'm not even going to give you all the tea. Just go and research for yourself. Cesare Borgia was the son of a very influential person that had a very big influence on the Catholic Church. And that was how the picture of Jesus came about. Check the Council of Nicaea. I think that's how the name is being pronounced. That's where they literally made up how Jesus is going to look like, who Jesus is going to represent. Jesus was from the Middle East. Um, these people, and in the Bible, there were several places where it said that Jesus went to disappear amongst the people. A white man with blue eyes and dark blonde hair cannot disappear among the people in the Middle East 2020 years ago, 21. It's not possible because he would have been seen everywhere because that's not how people looked like there. Now, just to cut the long story short, we are not closer to God because, first of all, we were the last ethnicity to develop. Secondly, if we are closer to God, that means that God was a white man. That means life came from a white man. Surprise, Shadi! It didn't. That's proven. That's historically proven. So if you want to know whether or not white people are closer to God, just look at where life came from, and that's the end of the story. Life came from the black woman. Uh, and there's one, oh my God, I love that sentence. Um, I met God and she's black. I read that somewhere on, I think it was on Twitter. It was trending on Twitter, and there were even T-shirts printed with it. And I think that sums it up. I personally do not believe, that's my personal opinion, that God is in any way any human figure or whatever. I also do not believe that God ever had a son, or to cut the long story short, I don't believe in any religion. Okay, that's my personal belief. If you don't like it, that's fine. That's cool. I don't need no argumentations. I don't need no please repent. Jesus is coming. Please. Religion is like a penis. It's nice to have, but once you rub it in everybody's face, it's no longer cute. So, with that being said, it's good, it's beautiful. If you believe in something that gives you strength, that gives you power, uh, do you, boo? But leave others alone with that. Like sometimes I have people in my inbox telling me I should repent now before I will go to hell. Please, I'm begging you, in whatever you believe in, it's not necessary. Okay? So, but if I was to believe into a human form of God, it would be a black woman because that's the only scientific sense it could ever make. So, no, white people are not closer to God. White people are literally the farthest away from God it could possibly be because being God means being human, being empathic and loving and kind and caring. And throughout human history, we have shown that we are everything but all these things. We allowed so many things to happen by our ignorance, through our silence, because we've been cowards. When we had the chance to change things, we didn't. And now that we still have the chance to change things, we are all up on the internet arguing whether or not white people should say the N word. So, no, we are not closer to God. Um, we are not. And the current image of Jesus is not Jesus. I'm sorry if you are offended. Like I said, Google is free. Please, I just said myself, I said what I said, and this is my channel. I stand behind everything I said, and Jesus wasn't a white man. God cannot be a white man. Adam and Eve cannot have been white people. Technically, no figure in the Bible could have ever been white. Not Mother Mary, not whoever. Nobody in the Bible could have ever been white. And notice how only the bad people in the Bible are black. But the proof is literally there. So this is not to argue about religion, like I said earlier, because it's a private thing. I personally think religion should be kept private. I don't think it should be all in people's faces because it doesn't matter. We are too fast to judge somebody by the fact that they are of a certain religion, of a certain tribe, or a certain whatever, instead of to focus on each other as human beings. Um, and when it comes to white people, if you're white and you're watching this, no, you're not closer to God. If you go to the sun, it can literally kill us. And that's also why Egyptians were never white. That they are white today is because of invasion, rape, killing, and slavery. No native African has ever been white. So, that being said, thank you for watching and thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Even though that's not a TED Talk, but hey, I've been looking for a way to say this. And here we go. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.